Good wishes, dear students. Now in this part we will continue with our chapter 1 revision, Chief Settler's speech. I was going through story in detail, and this is all about the Native Americans who were in the great problem with white settlers. Fine. So not a single star of hope hovers above the natives' horizon. The winds mourn and green fate follows them. Their situation is similar to a wounded doe that is being hunted down. In a few more years, their race will disappear. White settlers too will have their decay, which, though distant, awaits them. However, sharing the common destiny will help both the races. Now here, this Chief Settler, through his speech, is showing his hopeless condition, that there is not shown any hope, ray of hope near the horizon. The winds are mourning. Their situation is similar to their Native American situation is similar to the wounded doe that is being hunted down. And in few more years their race will disappear, they will extinct from this place. And white settlers too will have their decay, which though distant awaits them. This will happen with white settlers also, because if they are doing bad to us, they will also have to face the consequences in the future. However, if we will share both feelings, if we will share each other's feeling, and if we will do good to each other, both the races can survive together. Settler says that they will accept the governor's proposal for surrendering their lands only on one condition, that they will never be denied the privilege of visiting the tombs of their ancestors. The land is sacred and pure. Every hill, every valley, every plain, and even the rocks which seem to be lifeless are holy. Chief Settler is accepting the governor's appeal that okay fine, we will give land to white settlers also to settle on this land. But here he is saying that we have one condition, that we will not be denied by the privilege that whenever we wish to meet our ancestors and when we will go to their tomb, make us to meet our ancestors on their tomb. Don't take this privilege from us, because this land is very pure and sacred for us. Every hills, every valleys, every plain, and even the rocks which are seen to be lifeless, they are holy to us. Chief Settler ends his speech by saying that the white man will never be alone. Even when the last native would have perished, these shores will swarm their invisible dead of his tribe. He requests white man to deal kindly with his people, as the deed are not powerless. Settler by the end states that there is no death but only a change of worlds. So Chief Settler is admitting that if white man will settle here, and if we will extinct from this place, even when a single person will vanish from this earth, then also this native place will be ours only. And these shores, seashores, and this nature will not be alone. We will be here, our soul will wander here, and white men will understand about this, because dead are not powerless. If we will die also, we will not be powerless, our soul will be powerful, and they will hover on this earth, on this place. And there is no death, only the change of world. Our world will only change. So this was a story in detail. Now, characterization of Chief Settler, if you will see, Chief Settler was a Squamish tribe leader in the 19th century in Washington Territory. The long and moving speech that he gave in 1854 is a response to Governor Stevens' proposal of buying natives' land. It shows him as a patriot who wished to preserve the Native Americans' land rights. So Chief Setley is here treated as a patriot who loves his country, who loves his place. He demonstrated that he had reverence, that is respect for the Native Americans of life, and what he held supreme was their connection with the nature, land, mountains, lakes and valleys. His way of life was guarded by the humanitarian principles rather than the destructive principle. He wished to promote human welfare and therefore did not promote war. He spoke of war painfully and thus hoped that Native Americans and the white would never turn hostile to each other, because he himself was knowing that war brings destruction and this will harm both the races. But his wish was that both Native Americans and white would live together. They should not turn hostile with each other. He believed that the war only bring loss. Chief Setley seemed to be a spiritual man. He upheld the sacredness of the land, which was the resting place of his ancestors. He was a spiritual person, a God-fearing person, a religious person. That's why he is accepting that our ancestors' souls are hauling on this land, and he loves this nature. He exclaimed, "Our religion is a tradition of our ancestors. The dreams of our old men give them in solemn hours of the night by the Great Spirit, and the visions of our saints and is written in the heart of our people." Chief Setley believes in the transcendence that is free from the material world. That is the importance of the spiritual over the material aspects. It was his belief that their dead continued to be a part of their world, as there is no death, only a change of world. Their soul will survive, they will be here on this land, only our world will change. He thus exclaimed that whites would never be alone on native land, as their shores will swarm with the invisible dead of his tribe. So these white settlers, if due to them we will extinct from this land, then these white settlers will not live alone. Our soul will be there and we will hover, and dead men are not powerless. Now about Native Americans, if you will see, were oppressed and subjugated by the whites. Native Americans or Red Indians were once large in number, but now they resemble the scattering trees of storm-swept plain. Red Indians were seen to be living a fearful life, as they were constantly frightened by their ancient enemies, the Haddas and the Timinshas. Their freedom was curtailed and had to depend on their good father in Washington for their security. So previously Native Americans were more in number, but they were always living a fearful life because they were feared by their enemies, Haddas and Timinshas. But they asked help from the good father, white settlers, and they have given the security from these enemies to them. They lacked power and material resources to protect themselves. Native Americans felt like orphans. Orphans means whose parents are not on this earth, and did not believe in institutionalized religion. Institutionalized means having a rules and regulations religious, but had great regard for their way of life. They venerated their land and considered it sacred. They worshipped nature and the beautiful world that gave them being. Native Americans believed in togetherness and live in harmony. Even their dead is not cease to love them. Therefore, Chief Setley said about their dead ancestors that they still love its verdant valleys, its murmuring rivers, its magnificent mountains, sequestered valleys and verdant lined lakes and bays, and even yearn in tender fond affection over the lonely hearted living, and often return from the happy hunting ground to visit, guide, console and comfort them. So through this line, Chief Setley is admitting that the soul of their ancestors is still with them. They are wandering on this land. and they will live on this land. Even we will also live on this land if we will die also. Our world will change, but our soul will remain. So the native associated themselves with the land so much that it appeared as if they consider every valley, every plain, the soil, the rock a part of themselves. Thus the natives were one with the nature and its surroundings. These Native Americans were worshippers of nature, and according to them this nature has a life, and this will continue if they will die also then. About the whites, the character sketch is that the whites were powerful and authoritative. They were large in number and compared to red Indians over whom they exercised control. They were so guided by materialism that they wanted to buy native land from them. They were indifferent to Native Americans' feelings about the land. The extent of their domination can be seen when Chief Setley sarcastically mentioned that the good white chief was willing to allow them enough to live in comfort. The whites acted like their masters and expected them, means native people, to obey white, to remain protected from their ancient enemies. Now here the white people are being shown as the master race. They treat themselves as masters and they deprive these red Indians who were living there, who were the native person. So these whites were, in order to control them, they use the power also. And in order to help these Native Americans from their enemies, they are asking the land from them. So the white settlers believed in institutionalized Christianity. Religion for them means strict adherence to rules. Adherence means support to rules. Their religion was written upon tablets of stone by the iron finger of their God. That is, they were expected to follow 10 commandments, which were different from native spiritualism. Now here white settlers, they were Christians. They were belief that 10 commandments were given to them, which is written by the God's finger, which were in the form of fire. And these 10 commandments Christians are following. So according to them, that is different. Their religion is different from the spiritualism which is adopted by the Native Americans. Chief Setley says that the white did not treasure the land of their birth as the red Indians did. Once the whites are dead, they cease to love their fellow men. The whites had such an overpowering attitude that they did not let a single star of hope to hover above native horizon. They were like hunters hunting down a wounded doe. Chief Setley, according to his speech, wants to say that these white settlers does not have any respect for their elders or for their ancestors who died, because they don't believe that their soul is living there. They have left their land and came here. But we follow that custom, that tradition, that our ancestors who are died, they also are living in this place. Their souls are still surviving in this world, and they are hovering on this land. White have an attitude that they do not, according to the attitude of whites, they have not let a single ray of hope for us. And this is what we dislike. We are just like a wounded doe being hunted by the white settlers. So this was the characterization of Chief Setley, Native Americans and the white people. So till here we have completed. In next part we will go through the theme. Fine students? So thank you so much.